If you're still using pip or venv for every Python project, you're wasting time. There's a relatively new tool called UV that's insanely fast, manages your environments, handles Python versions, locks in dependencies, and can even replace tools like pipx or pyenv. In this video, I'm going to show you guys side by side why UV is the best upgrade you can make to your Python workflow right now. I drop new videos every Thursday, so be sure to subscribe. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, guys, for another episode of Code with Josh. For obvious reasons, I'm Josh, and I'm stoked to have you guys here. Now, today, we're going to compare the classic pip and venv workflow with UV by walking through a simple project setup. I really want you guys to see how much faster this is so you can save time on your end when you're starting up or spinning up new projects. We'll start with the old way and then rebuild the same thing with UV and keep expanding into one UV project into like a data script, a basic API, and just a reproducible environment. Let's start with how most of us still set things up today. That's pip and venv. All right, so here I am inside of my VS Code. I already created a folder, probably didn't have to, but I did because we're going to do two projects inside this. Now, the traditional way to do this would be to make a folder within, right? Yes, I'm in VS Code. I don't have to actually make dir here, but we're going to do it in case you're just in a terminal. And I would create a folder and we would cd into that folder. Okay, once we're inside here, this is when we would traditionally generate us a virtual environment, and then we need to cd or activate that virtual environment. Okay, so source, ven, bin, activate. Now, once we have everything here, you can see the virtual environment. I could create a main Python file. And let's just pretend here for the sake of this that we are working with data analytics. We're going to do some pandas, and we are going to do some data visualization with matplotlib. Okay, so pyplot as plt. Now, we have these already, okay? When using pip, we would have to pip install pandas and matplotlib. Run that, it would go through everything, it would install everything into this virtual environment, okay? It works, but it's slow and it's easy to forget to activate the virtual environment. Since we're here too, I'm going to create a requirements text file by saying pip freeze requirements.txt, okay? And then that creates us our text file of everything that we have in this virtual environment. Okay, so this is great. But let me show you guys a faster way to do this with UV that's not only faster, but also so much cleaner. Okay, so let's cd back one, and then all we need to do now to create this new environment is we're going to say UV init. Then I'm going to name the folder that I'm trying to create. Sales report, let's call this one UV. I'm going to run that, and you can see that it generates it, and it also generates us all these files. It gives me a Python file to start. It gives me a TOML file, a README file, and our other two right here. Okay, this is great. Now that we're inside here, right, I could list them off if I want. We're in both of those, but we really want to be inside the new UV files. So sales report, UV folder, list. Okay, we have everything here. Now, in order to install these packages here, so currently main gives you just this template. Let's say we want pandas. I'm going to say UV add. There's no pip install anymore. UV add pandas and matplotlib. We could run that. It's going to install these dependencies. Okay. And you can also see here a few things. If I go into my TOML file, it shows the dependencies. This is really great. And then it generates what we call a UV lock file. Okay, so UV lock is basically the version of requirements.txt. All right, this is just the other version. If you need to generate your own UV lock file, it would just be UV lock. Inside our Python file, for the sake of this, because I already imported pandas, let's just drop some dummy pandas code here. Okay, to run this file, I could just run it, right? Or if we're running via terminal, UV run. That's the command here. UV run, type the name of what you want to run, and it's going to do it. If you're getting value in this video, help me out, hit that like button and subscribe. The links in the description, they're dedicated to you guys and helping you grow and learn Python at a speed for you. The first link in the description, head on down there and check it out. That is my Python Masterclass program where I take you guys from A to Z through Python at your speed to help you truly master and understand it. All the other links down there are everything from my Python newsletter, my Python ebooks, our Discord channel. It's really all just down there to help you learn and help you grow. Head on down, check them out. Boom, there we go. Okay, so my file runs as I would expect. Now, it's important to note here, right? I didn't have to activate the virtual environment. I just ran it. UV automatically creates and uses a virtual environment in this project to make sure it's in sync with all your dependencies. This already replaces virtual environments and pip install, which is a lot of work. Some other really cool things here now is we have UV init, right? We have UV add, and then we have UV run. But we could also install a specific version of Python. For example, if I want Python 3.13, I'm on 3.14, I could run this, I already have it. And then if I'm working in a project and I want to make sure that the project kind of abides by that version of Python, I can pin the version of Python that I want. And it shows then here in our file that this is the version of Python that our project is actually dealing with. Okay, so super, super cool trick right there. If we go UV Python list, right, it's going to list off all the information in regards to that. Okay, so already, if you are saving time here, hit that like button. That really does help out the channel. So thank you guys so much. Now, moving on here, we already have a UV lock. So I showed you guys that. And UV lock creates this file with all the exact versions and hashes of your dependencies. This is basically like requirements.txt on steroids, and it's built to reproduce environments. Okay, now, let's say that I pulled this file from my GitHub. I cloned it, I pulled it, and I need to recreate the exact environment that this project was built in. All we need to do for that is say UV sync. That is going to sync everything together in the project I pulled, as well as get all the dependencies, the right version of Python all ready to go. UV sync is going to look at this TOML file and the UV lock file, create a virtual environment if you don't have one, and install everything precisely. Jumping back to our Python code here, right? Let's just say like, I'm not really gonna make a whole lot, but let's do like UV add FastAPI in Uvicorn. Okay, I'm gonna run that, install that, clear that. And I'm gonna put here, this is not a FastAPI video. I have plenty of those out if you guys are into that. Here's just very simple FastAPI code. I have two endpoints. I have health and I have sales with just some dummy return data, created my app object. I didn't actually create the file. So if we're gonna fix that, we are just gonna go uvicorn. Okay, if I want to test it out, you can see here that boom, the API is working, UV run. We can go to our docs, look at that. This is all the FastAPI backend stuff, Swagger UI. This is really great. But again, I didn't have to make a virtual environment. I didn't have to activate it. UV does everything. Okay, so it really saves us a lot of time. Super, super cool. Now, let's say that you want to make like a global tool that's all on your system here. We can do UV tool and then install one to be like a global tool in a way. So UV can also replace pipx for global CLI tools. Let's put here like rough, right? Rough is a linter. And if I want to expose that now, I can just go UV tool list. I can see that rough is there, which means I could just run the rough command. And this is going to work on other projects without having to install every single virtual environment I create. It's just one less thing to manage, really. Now, the last thing I really want to show you guys is a lot of projects still use pip. Okay, it's just, it's the way it is. We still use pip on a lot of projects, right? I have a main file. We import pandas as PD, okay? And they're going to come with requirements text. But how do you use UV without having to just recreate everything? This is great. I don't want us to start over again if we're using UV on a pip requirements text file. All we have to do inside the folder is one, I'm going to cd into sales report pip. We're going to go UV init. This initializes everything. Boom, right there, handled, it's done. We are just going to say UV add, and we are going to add the requirements text file. It does everything for us. Then I can generate a lock file because now we're working in UV. And then I can make sure everything is synced together by running UV sync. That's it. You've effectively upgraded that project into a UV managed workflow, saving so much more time. Instead of using virtual environments and pip, we are now using UV for everything, and this seems to be the way that we're all going. So where does this now leave pip and virtual environments? They're not going away. If you're working on a giant team with a locked-in Poetry or Conda setup, you're maintaining some very old deployment scripts, you might keep using those. That's okay. But for most solo developers and people building side projects or tutorials, UV gives you a single tool that replaces pip, venv, virtual env, parts of pip tools, pipx, you name it, with faster installs, built-in Python version management, and reproducible environments with lock files. The next time you start a project, try UV in it instead. If UV will even save you 10 minutes of your time, hit that like button and subscribe. That's all for this episode, Python crew. Until next time, I will see you then.